Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. I sometimes like to consider why a church has the name it has. For example, what does it mean that the church I serve now is called Redeemer? Why did the founders choose that name? What does it say about us and what we stand for? For example, why did they name Ebenezer Ebenezer? Or St. Stephen's, or Pisgah, or Abiding Savior for that matter? Usually, part of my reverie is to consider what I might want to name a church if I had the chance. I'm mentioning all this because I had a conversation with someone last week about traveling Highway 17 from Myrtle Beach to Charleston and noticing what quickly became my favorite church's name, Mount Nebo AME Church. I saw their sign and I asked myself, why would anyone name a church after Mount Nebo of all places? Of all the mountains in the Bible, why would you pick Mount Nebo where Moses went to look into the Promised Land before he died? And then suddenly I loved it. The church was named Mount Nebo because from that place you can glimpse the Promised Land. There in the midst of a troubled world, you get a glimpse of heaven. It's a foretaste of the feast to come. This week we aren't talking about church names, but we are talking about psalms that hymn writers used as the inspiration for and the basis for the hymns they wrote. So my goal this week is to draw those connections, and when it comes to Psalm 90, Moses and Mount Nebo play a significant role. Before the psalm begins, it even says that this is a psalm of Moses, implying that it was written by Moses. I guess that's possible, but it's unlikely. However, the psalm does reflect what Moses might have felt when he went up on Mount Nebo. He had worked for years to reach the Promised Land, and now he would not. So Psalm 90 reflects embracing a painful reality of an unfulfilled dream, and then submits that to God in trust. The part that relates to a hymn, however, is centered in the first 6 verses. The first 2 verses of the psalm describe God as a home, a shelter, a refuge, a place of belonging. They imply that the psalmist has a center to cling to and is not in spiritual isolation away from God. Perhaps even more importantly, it implies that this belonging is not of his own making. It is a gift. Even more, this home is not a place, but a person. God doesn't provide a home. God is home. Moses, short of the land, is still at home in his relationship with God. In that relationship, Moses finds comfort and peace. The next few verses of the psalm focus on the limited and transitory nature of life. We are dust and grass, and this imagery helps us remember our relationship with God, who God is and who we are. And knowing that, we know not only that God is our home, but God is our help, and God is faithful to us. Here are the first 6 verses of Psalm 90. Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, from everlasting to everlasting you are God. You turn us back to dust and say, turn back, you mortals. For 1,000 years in your sight are like yesterday when it is past, or like a watch in the night. You sweep them away. They are like a dream, like grass that is renewed in the morning. In the morning it flourishes and is renewed. In the evening it fades and withers. Hymn writer Isaac Watts used these verses for his inspiration to write a hymn you likely know, O God, our help in ages past. Listen to the verses and you'll see the connections. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal home. Under the shadow of your throne your saints have dwelt secure. Sufficient is your arm alone, and our defense is sure. Before the hills in order stood, or earth received its frame, from everlasting you are God, to endless years the same. 1,000 ages in your sight are like an evening gone, short as the watch that ends the night before the rising sun. Time, like an ever-rolling stream, bears all our years away. They fly forgotten as a dream dies at the opening day. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, still be our guard while troubles last, and our eternal home. We often use this hymn at funerals to speak of our close dependence on God, especially in the face of a harsh reality, and of God's continued care for us. Even in the face of death, or no matter what struggles we are going through, God is our home. Our relationship with God endures. God can be counted on. Just like God could be counted on in the past, so God can be counted on now. Maybe wherever we are, whenever we are on Mount Nebo with Moses, hurting, but confident and sure. We have a home in God. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.